Hello everyone. I think I will start now. So yeah, the main synopsis of my session is that we have recipe, we have Starshot and everything, but there are still existing old things like distributions and profiles, and I want that any developer who is specifically Drupal developer have a clear idea like when and why, what for these things. So yeah, I am Abhishek and I am from India. More specifically, I work from home from last 3 years at Pune. So looking at so many people, I'm a bit paranoid, but it's fun. And yeah, first DrupalCon, first time giving a session. So bear with me and thank you in advance. Thank you. Well, that is a motivation. Okay. I don't want that I write a lot of things about me, but I will say about myself. So I have 7 years of experience in total, approximately. And one of my senior told me that let the audience know that why you are standing here, why you are talking about these things. So from last 4 years, I have mostly working on profiles, no client projects, no client interactions. I don't know lot of things on Drupal which are client related, but I know and faced lot of issues with profiles and distributions. And the annoying thing which everyone talks that how we manage configurations in distributions and profiles and everything. So that's why I thought let's do this, and maybe I will try to create a separation on these things, that how and these things why exist. Little bit more. I didn't thought I will take so much time in this slide. I worked in Pantheon where I was working as a member with a small team where they are developing a front-end site which was needed different profiles to support the front-end sites for Next and Gatsby and so on. Same was done on WordPress. Then I moved to Morph. They have a booth and they are very cool guys. Go and talk to them. They have a convivial profile. So again, a profile, a distribution, annoying configuration management, annoying composer management. But yeah, they had a very clever system of managing things. I will suggest to talk with them. They did a very clever CI/CD pipeline for that. Then at present, Dropsolid where they have Rocketship. I'm not mostly involved in Rocketship, but we are working on a complete DXP experience where Mautic and Drupal will talk with each other and they will create a DXP including everything like email templating, content, and AI. So that's something. Thanks to Dropsolid, I am here. They have sponsored some part of me to come here, and little bit about them, what they do, what their service offers. Okay, and yeah, that's part of my bill, so to do. Anyway, yeah, I will put some weird jokes. Some housekeeping is that I will ask all the questions which starts with W. So that's why, what, why, when. Just kidding, you can ask all questions. I will try to, again, I covered that mostly, that I want to differentiate them. And yeah, of course, I'm a Rick and Morty fan, so a lot of Rick and Morty memes. It was very difficult to filter out them, so they are safe for work. And yeah, we are comparing apple and oranges. Apple is Starshot and orange as distribution. So Apple is still being developed and a lot of new things are still promised which are coming. I might be talking about them and saying that, oh, this is a feature which is there, but you might find that it doesn't work on 10, it doesn't work on any older version. It works on maybe 10.3 or in 11.1. So that is something, it's an experimental thing which is going on. So that's something we need to keep in mind. Okay, so yeah, the main content. The first we'll talk about what is the purpose, distribution, and then recipes. This is a definition which I found on the website, drupal.org. They have a listing page of all the distributions according to uses, I guess. And the main thing is, yeah, it's single downloadable setup, which has contribution module, themes, profiles, which has configurations, and a lot of more things. I see distribution as a site which has everything pre-set up, just copy it and start working. And distributions existed pretty back, like it was there on Drupal 6 or 5, I guess. And the concept was there since then. I will try to also differentiate like distributions and profile. So first example, I will look at Drop Solid's rocket ship. This all, okay, yeah, okay, it's visible. So this is the distribution. We are calling it distribution because you can see a doc root file. This is basically a site. Just copy it, or it can also have a composer create command, so that you can run composer create and it will like pull out all the dependency and create the structure of Drupal. The only difference you will find is that it's not like required thing, but it might also include profile, which will have those configurations, those annoying configurations which we need to manage. One more thing I should ask, anyone here who have worked with profiles? Okay, few of them. So I will try to explain you why configurations managing this way are difficult. So when you import or export the configurations, they have a default location for Drupal, or you set up the location. It creates on a specific folder, then you want specific files or specific entities configurations to be copied on the profile. You have to remove the core tags, core attributes, and the hash attributes, everything, and then only you can copy in the profile, and that will then work out of the box when you install the profile. So that's why, okay, I will cover that later on, that how recipe is managing that. So yeah, this is an optional thing where a profile is required. The profile can be a custom thing where it don't need a composer requirement, but yeah, any option can work. Again, a profile, it has a config folder which has all the configurations, any modules. So recipe doesn't support PHP code, right? That's what we are learning, all of this from whenever the Starshot was introduced. But profile had that option that you can include any custom profile, custom theme. So yeah, that way we can differentiate it. Profile had a info file which had specifically a important key, which is the distribution. This was an optional thing, but when you mark a profile with this, it clearly says that, okay, I am a distribution, and whenever somebody tries to install me, I will just run over all of the profiles and I will install myself by default, unless and until you give a specific instruction or attributes in your trust install command. Okay, yeah. Then now, I hope that's pretty much a gist of distribution and profile. It might not be clear, but that's something. Drupal recipes, I will not cover most of it because there was a separate session where recipes were talked, but in very high level, pre-packed inheritance is possible, default contents is possible, and of course it is not installed, it is applied. And it's very important because profile were installed, and as it's an issue known to everyone that you have to live with that profile until unless that code base exists. But recipes are that you apply the configurations, the site doesn't realize that it has a recipe applied in it. It just have those configuration in its database. So that's why it's applied, not installed. And there will be future roadmap where the recipes can be rolled back. So that's why it is important. Let me see if I've missed out anything. Okay, yeah, and profiles were very difficult to be like found and know, okay, yeah, this profile is good for marketing, this profile is good for event management. But as a promise, recipe will be findable easily on Drupal.org or packages where you can just require it and it will work. It will pull out all the dependencies and set up it. What do recipe do? Yeah, apply recipe. It will basically do anything which has a configurations and not a PHP code. So it will install modules, apply specific configuration settings, and of course default content. A example recipe file where you can see configurations, actions. It has also recipe included, which it will apply first and then apply itself. So it has a recipe runner concept where things will happen in a certain sequence, then only it will work. So that's a recipe runner concept where other recipes will be applied first, their configuration will be applied first, and then it will run itself. Yeah. Now coming to the why part. Yeah, okay, I'm in the right part. Okay, why they existed. As we know, Drupal is a framework, but right now we are making a separation on framework and product. So previously when it was a framework, we should be utilizing that power of Drupal. So that's why the concept of distribution was introduced, and it was a ready-made package thing, easy to collaborate because it has all these settings, configuration itself, and it can be like shared or like pulled, and like all other developers can work on that. It has a fragmentation and natural selection process because there were different distributions. Lot of distribution came in market, like OpenSocial, Convivial is there. I saw Marian remember that. So the same thing is expected to come out of recipes, where recipes or Drupal CMS, where people will create different CMSs, where different CMSs out of Drupal core, specific in some things for, let's say, marketing or event management setting. Different example. Yeah. So that's why kind of distribution came into picture for Drupal, and people started using that or developing them. Then coming to why for recipes, I think all of us might know, but I will just cover the important points of that. It can be built on top of other recipes, so inheritance is possible. The most important was default content. I feel that was very good, that default content was included and it can ship content. Config action is very powerful tool where it can selectively update configurations. So yeah, lot of things for recipes. Now for the why part, when. When one should have a distribution, and since we have Drupal CMS, so distributions will have a picture or not, so that's something. I feel they will exist because every concept of distribution has a different thinking on that. It will evolve, like a distribution might have a recipe in it, which will, I just got a personal message, I thought it got shared, sorry. Resume back. So yeah, a distribution might have a recipe which will have different things, like for example the famous event recipe, a site where different calendar options are present. We won't need all the calendar options in that set. A user or anyone, a site owner who wants a specific calendar option, it can have a specific recipe which can be enabled, and the others can just stay. So that's why this distribution will exist. It will have all these, and people will develop or evolve it into a CMS which is based on Drupal core. When to use recipe? When we are working, when we need few things which are reusable many times. We have a setup where each time we want to create, we have certain configurations, so recipes will come to into picture. Inheritance, all of the features will become why you need it, when you need it. Moving forward with this, my concept or idea is that a distribution will have a recipe. That's what I told you, and the thing it can be achieved by putting a type into the root of the composer file, the Drupal recipe, and it can be like included or required in the dependencies of the site, which will be a useful feature. And again, those recipes will have its own composer file, which will also can pull its contributed modules or any other modules which themes it requires. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm complete. So I'm not sure if you have any question, let me know. But yeah, that was pretty much me. Thank you. Thank you. I see there is one question. Yeah.
I have a question about default content and how it can be tracked and uninstalled when the recipe is uninstalled. For example, it deploys 5 nodes on the installation process, and when we uninstall, we should clean up somehow this. How it can be implemented only manually, or some recommendations about this?
For recipes, I think there is a roadmap for that. That it will have a concept of rollback, where it will have removal of those content, but that's not right now in present scenario present. But there is a roadmap on that, and I'm not aware exactly how that will work.
And that use directly the default content module to deploy, right?
Yeah. To create the YAML files.
Upgrade. So if you install the module and then upgrade to the next version, the default content will not be deployed. So we need to resolve the update part and the uninstall part also.
Yeah, that's a valid point. But yeah, I don't know about it because it's still on the plans, and I'm not the expert of recipes right now, so I also know how much you know. Yeah. Anything else, anyone? Yeah.
What's your take on, since you have a lot of experience working on profiles, what is your take on profiles versus starter kits?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so question is, what is my take on profiles versus starter kits? Starter kits can be distribution, what I am thinking about, like the create composer command and create, that is what you are talking about, starter kits. So profile will not exist, I guess, because we don't need a package right now where we will put configurations and theme. That can be achieved. The configurations and default content will move to recipes, and the dependencies for modules and everything will stay in the distribution's main composer file. So as everyone says, the profiles are not the way to go right now. Convert your configuration into segmented recipes. Yeah, that's my take, I feel.
Maybe this requires a larger discussion, but what I feel is that even starter kits can be compared to, or starter kits are similar to recipes, as per I understand.
Yeah, but again, recipe has limitation that it will not have PHP code, right? So that's something. Recipes were mainly developed for managing the configuration, so what I have understood. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, we are done. I will do one thing which I forgot every time I give session. We are done. Thank you.